Hi everyone, and welcome to our special episode of Cardfight Vanguard. We are your hosts, Tony, also known as Revolution 91156, and
Troy, also known as Ganondorf 1268.
and this is going to be a four-part
Tutorial.
series for learning how to play Vanguard. This will be explained in four parts. Our first part will be explaining the cards of the game. Our second part will be explaining the mat. And our third part will be explaining the rules. We will also have one final part, which will be explaining the rules again, but we'll also be playing a match to show. Anything to say?
No, let's just get into it.
Okay. First off, we'll take turns on explaining things, so one person's not overdoing it.
So not everybody's doing all the work or anything.
Okay, I'll start off. First, you need to have a deck of 50 cards, no more, no less. You also need to have exactly 16 triggers, which will be explained throughout the video. There must be 16 triggers, no more or less. So we'll explain the minimum requirement on what they require. I think it's like 17 grade zeros, 16 triggers, one starting Vanguard was like 16 grade ones. Hold on a second.
Let me see if I can look that up.
Well, while he's looking that up, and how to be doing this, we'll be going over that when time comes, when we when we go over the rules. Okay.
Let's see. They say that a deck can only have 50. You can't have you can't have more than 4 of any individual card. You have to have exactly 16 triggers. You can only have 4 heal, only 4 sentinel.
We'll get into the sentinel in a little bit.
And I don't know about this other one. It says a flash deck can only have 25.
Don't worry about the flash deck.
That's different.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
so
if we have the original rule book, they give us a approximate on what it will.
Let's talk about the other thing.
Didn't know about that. Okay, come on.
Right, yeah, so basically it's just 16 triggers.
But you just gotta have it balanced out between
no more than 4, single cards, stuff like that.
Yeah. Can't believe we forgot about that. Okay. We're talking about the grades now.
Oh, okay. So what should we? Okay, so in Vanguard, they consist of I don't know what you want to call them. What do you want to call them? Not. They're units, and they're graded from 0 to 3. Grade 0s are the first starting. Everything starts with grade 0s, and I don't know what to say about grade 0. I'm pretty sure all grade 0s are trigger units, and you have one that is a starting Vanguard, and I think we have this here as an example. I don't know if you can see that. This one is Eradicator Strike Dagger Dragon is a starting Vanguard. So that one would go in the Vanguard circle to start the match off. And then there are 4 types of trigger units: critical triggers, heal triggers, stand triggers, and draw triggers.
You might want to put them up to the camera so they can see.
You have critical triggers.
To tell them about the
Critical triggers. Critical triggers. A critical trigger gives, well, first off, all triggers give +5 to a unit of your choosing. They automatically get +5 to any, and that's 5,000. They get +5,000 to any unit you choose. A critical trigger. Now, for the critical trigger, that what happens is that it gives 5,000 to any unit of your choosing, and it gains +1 crit. What that means is every single unit has at least 1 crit, and that's the damage that you do. If you pull a critical trigger, it adds another one. That means now it is at 2, which means you now do 2 damage. Next, we have the heal trigger. And the heal trigger, like I said before, you give +5,000 to any unit you choose. And if you have the same number of damage or more, so the same number of damage the number of damage is equal to or greater than your opponent, you may heal 1 damage. The stand trigger. Stand trigger also gives +5,000 to any unit you choose, and you can stand any rear guard, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is and now for the draw trigger. The draw trigger also gives +5,000 to any unit you choose, and you draw 1 card. And then, didn't I talk about that?
Of the Forerunner?
Oh, okay. And then you have, for starting Vanguards, they have an ability, some, not all, some have an ability called Forerunner. And what that means is, when a unit rides that unit, I don't know if it has to, does it say?
Same clan.
Okay, it has to be same clan. Rides that unit, you may call that unit to any rear guard.
Now you will only find cards that have the Forerunner ability, and starting with BT09, that's Booster Set 9.
That's right. Yeah, the earlier cards don't.
All the other ones beforehand don't have them but they have the same ability.
They have the same ability, they're just not called Forerunners yet.
Okay, now we'll go with grade... Oh, there is one more thing.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, totally forgot about that. Boosting. That's right. Yes, grade 0s are boosters. Yeah, they're boosters. And all that means is that, as an example, let's say you're Vanguard and you have a grade 0 behind your Vanguard. When you attack, you add the number, you add up your Vanguard and the rear guard behind it, that grade 0, and then that is a combined attack to your opponent, and that's how that works.
Okay, now we'll go to grade 1s. Grade 1s are also boosters. You can tell what the is what my partner forgot to mention is that this symbol right here is for boosting. This is grade 1s are also for boosters. Now there are some special grade 1s, only grade 1s that have these are called perfect guards, other known as P guards. The old printing of these has a shield of 0. Shield of 0, which we actually forgot. Grade 0s and 1s, that's all we're talking about for now, all have some kind of shield.
Yes, that's right.
So So
Yes, that's right. Some have. Oh, it's this way. Some have. Where is that? Oh, it's right there. Some have 10,000.
Now, starting Vanguards, heal triggers,
And some have 5.
now critical triggers,
Critical triggers, heal triggers, some stand triggers,
some stand triggers, and
a few starting.
and some starting Vanguards have 10k. All the rest are 5. Perfect guards, like I said, it looks like a regular shield, but it has 0 defense for perfect guards. The newer ones are gold with a blue ball in the middle.
But they still have the 0.
Now, what these do is that you take a hand from your hand.
You have to take same clan
from your hand and discard it, and and the attack is nullified, which means no matter what you do,
so that means
you cannot pass.
Yes. So if let's say they're at 15,000, let's say, and they're attacking you, and you use that, they could pull 2 critical triggers, and it wouldn't matter.
Now, and sorry if we're gibbering around. This is our first time doing any kind of tutorial.
Yeah.
So we're hoping when time goes, this be easier. Anyways, now on these old ones, they just tell you the ability, but with these, they came out same when they redid these prints for BT09. They became a thing called Sentinel, just like how the Forerunners became Forerunners in the same booster set.
And you can only have
4 Sentinels. That's including with the new Quinton wall, which comes out, I don't know what, I think like the next couple of booster sets from now. Right now we're at, I think, what, BT12?
I think we're
no BT12.
I think it's BT12, but
if we're wrong, we will let you know as the video goes on. Next up is actually only one guarding. What's BT?
BT13.
No, we're at BT12.
See, yeah, no, it's not gonna come out till May 2nd. So
okay.
12.
Now this one is called the Guard Griffin. It's only the one few that we've actually found. What this does is that when you place it in, when you guard with it from your hand to the Guardian Circle, which we will explain all that when we explain the rules or the mat, whatever one we decide to explain it. When you activate its ability, you activate its ability by paying the cost from your damage. Once again, we'll explain all that later, and then it'll go up to 10,000 defense instead of its 5.
Grade 2. Grade 2s are what's called interceptors. What that means,
Put it up there.
And that's that little symbol right there. And what that means is when they're in the rear guard, the front rear guard, you can use them for defense along with any other cards from your hand. And then there are those that are special that have an ability like Nemean Lion here, that when they are used to guard, they gain an extra 5. So they'll go from 5,000 to 10,000.
Kind of like the Guardian Griffin, except you don't need to pay a cost.
No. These, with ones like these, as soon as you guard with it, it automatically gains that ability. I don't know what much more to say about Grade 2. I think that's it.
Oh.
What? The defense. Yeah, I said that they were 5,000.
All right, never mind.
But then they go up to 10 if you use those special ones.
Okay. Next is actually the biggest one. Is actually one of the biggest ones of them all. Grade 3s. Grade 3s have an ability called Twin Drive.
It's that simple there.
First, let's talk about drive triggers. Drive checking, doing a drive trigger check
is during your attack phase.
During your attack phase, and you take the top card of your deck, flip it over, and see if there's a trigger. Now with grade 3s,
you could do it twice.
Instead of just checking it once, you take the top 2 cards and check. Heal trigger.
Oh, heal trigger. No.
Now there are a lot of grade 3s that have unique abilities to each of them. One that I want to address, some other cards do this, but this is the only one of its kind that actually has a restriction on it. When this card attacks, it cannot be boosted from a card in the back row, but it gains plus 2,000 for each rear guard you have. So the maximum it can attack is 20k.
That's 2,000
each rear guard
of the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same clan. I'm pretty sure it's, what do you call it? Rear guard. We have to.
Yeah,
same clan. It's got to be same clan.
Same clan.
That's just for people who, if you're feeling bold and you want to go dual clan deck, multiple clan decks, though I wouldn't recommend it. But there are people out there that try.
Yeah. Okay. You want to talk about the next card?
Which one are we going for next? Let's see. Okay, so let's see here. I guess we'll go with the limit break. And some grade 3s have what's called a limit break, and what that is,
which was introduced in BT 08, Breaker of Limits.
And a limit break is, for instance, like this one, you have to have at least 4 damage. And for Eternal Goddess Ego Anahime here, you have to have 6. You have to soul blast 6, and you retire all of your opponent's rear guards in the front row.
And you only activate the ability with 4 damage.
Yes. You have to have 4 damage to activate that.
Now, since we're on the subject of soul blasting, this card is called Vortex Dragon. It has an ability that lets you soul charge 1 at the beginning of your main phase. There are cards that allow you soul blast during your main phase and attack phase, depending on the ability. Which that means is that you take the top card of your deck.
This is soul charging, by the way.
Soul charging, and put it inside, which is called as a soul. Anything under your Vanguard is considered the soul.
Soul blasting is when you take the cards from your soul and they go to the drop zone to activate something like a limit break.
Or just a soul blast.
Or even a soul blast. Like for instance, Ego Anahime just has a simple soul blast of 3 and she gets +5 until the end of the turn.
Now, some cards, like any cards that soul charge at the beginning of your main phase, like Vortex Dragon, has a thing called Mega Blast, where you have to have 8 cards in the soul, and you have to have 5 damage unflipped. And those are one of the most hardest abilities to achieve.
Should we mention that? Right, I think we should mention that.
Now, some cards like
Ego Anahime,
Plantina Azel, I think in your deck.
In my deck, yes.
Goddess of the Sun.
And CEO too, I think.
No, I don't think CEO. They have a thing called Lord. And what Lord does is that if there is one card in your rear guard that is not
the same clan
of the same clan,
they can't attack. And that's if it's in the rear guard or in the vanguard.
But if you're in the rear guard, if your vanguard's not in the same clan, it is not the same clan. It cannot attack.
Yeah.
That's another one. That's another lord.
Okay, no, CEO is not.
I think
that's the only one.
I think Eternal. I think this is the only one you have.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. That's the only one I've got.
Okay.
Yep. Nope.
Next, we'll talk about Superior Call. For instance, early Alfred. He has a card that now this happens anywhere from an ability, where you take a card from your deck, the soul, the drop zone, wherever, and you call it to your rear guard. That is called Superior Calling.
Okay. Next is... Wait, what am I talking about with this one? Oh, yes. Some have abilities that involve, for instance, like, that have godly speed here. It says that if you counterblast 2, if you have if you have 6 or more Royal Paladin in the soul, you can counterblast 2, and Knight of Godly Speeds gets +3 and a crit.
Let's take now. That's only to deal with any cards that you have to have certain amount of cards in the soul before you can activate it. You can have more, but you cannot have less.
And with that one, you could have 6 in the soul and 4 damage, and you could do that twice.
Now, actually, I want to go back to grade 1s for a minute. I actually forgot this. There are some cards like Liberator, Flame Mane Stallion. Each of these has a Soul Blast that lets you power up your Vanguard. Power up whatever card it says. Like this one, you need Liberator with a Round Table Alfred as your Vanguard, and the Vanguard gains +5. Most of these have that ability. Some of these have that ability. Now we're gonna go to something that's actually new that just appeared in BT10. It's called Brake Ride.
Yes.
What these are is that if a card from the same clan, it's also a limit break, but it's a special kind of limit break called Brake Ride. When a member of the same clan rides this unit, most Brake Rides have a cost. Where you pay the cost, and then all Brake Rides give plus 10k to your Vanguard. For instance, Solitary Liberator Cancelot is actually one of the, what do you want to call it, the cheapest Brake Rides?
I guess.
Because you have 4 of these, you could Brake Ride 3 times with Cancelot, then you have 1 more time you could Brake Ride. Now some abilities like like for my Genesis deck, I'm unprepared, guys. I don't think a lot of this stuff through. Like I said, this is our first time. Where's my Brake Ride in this deck?
What? Shouldn't it be in there?
It's in here.
Great. Insert elevator music here.
Sorry if you heard that, folks.
Insert elevator music here.
Oracle Queen Himiko. Its Brake Ride is that you have to pay a cost of you gain +5 to 2 rear guards. Which, speaking of which, this you give 5 to 3 rear guards. But then it also gains an ability when it attacks. You Soul Blast 3, and then you are able to draw a card. There are some that are more ridiculous with their cost, but we don't have any of those cards.
I think there's something I should mention about soul charging. There are decks like that deck where you soul charge a lot, and I mean there are a lot of times.
I have my deck in the soul,
and there's a problem with that. And we'll explain that.
We'll explain all that later.
But there is a problem with decks like that.
Now, do you want to explain this, or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay, this is Perfect Razor. This actually lets you put razors from your rear guard and add them to the soul. And one good thing about this ability is that
you see one of his other abilities.
Yeah.
If you don't have
if you don't have a razor in the rear guard, it loses 2K.
But also, if you don't have any razors in your soul,
that it's worthless.
It's pretty much worthless. Yeah.
But you gain +3 for each razor in the soul. And if you have 4 or more, that goes critical.
Yeah.
It's one of the few cards, but I figured it'll show you. We can explain taking cards from your rear guard and adding them to the soul.
There are some I think we should mention for grade 0, like the Forerunner for.
We want Crimson Lion Cup. Actually, we can actually show that with.
Because there's, what do you call it? You search your, you put it.
Hold on.
What's his face? You counterblast, put him into the soul.
We can show with this.
Oh right, yes.
With this card, Strike Dagger Dragon. If you with this card, you don't counterblast.
That's with.
I don't think Crimson Lion Club does that.
Oh, whatever. I'm talking about. No, I'm talking. From which deck is it? What's his face? To get Ezel?
That one. Dreaming Sage.
Yeah.
You counterblast one.
Counterblast one goes to the soul. You search your deck for up to one.
You search the top 5 for a card with Ezel. Now this will do its superior writing. If you have Supreme Eradicator. I'm not going to say the name.
Sure, we're not going to butcher that.
Sword Dance Eradicator. Sorry, if you have Sword Dance Eradicator and Strike Dagger in the rear guard, and if your Vanguard is Supreme Army Eradicator, you put this and the other grade 1 Sword Dance in the soul, and you search for a card called Eradicator Dragonic Descent, and then you ride it, which is a superior ride.
Was that search the deck or just the top cards?
The deck.
The deck, okay.
This is like Crimson Lion Cup.
Okay.
For Ezel?
Yeah.
So there are not many cards that can do that.
Oh, there aren't.
Anything else we're missing?
No, I don't think so. I think we've gone over pretty much everything.
Well, if we forget anything, we'll add it to a new video when we're able to talk about another ability that just came out. So anyways, I am Revolution 91156, other known as Tony.
And I am Ganondorf1268, also known as Troy.
Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 2, where we explain the game mat of Vanguard. Thank you, and have a good day.